Hello guys, you are welcome back to this channel. If this is your first time on the channel, kindly subscribe, like and share my video so that others can also watch. Today we are going to look at a very interesting topic called effective technology integration in teaching and learning. And then we are going to take a look at the IEEE framework. And the IEEE framework is going to be about how technology is well integrated into our teaching and learning in the classroom. So let's take a look at what it is. Now, the outline, we are going to look at the overview of technology integration in teaching, and then what the IEEE framework is with regards to engagement, enhancement, and then extension. And then later on, we are going to look at one other framework called the TPAC framework, which is also just like the IEEE framework. So now let's dive into what the IEEE framework is. Now, it was developed by Dr. Liz Kolb in the year 2011, and then it's a useful extension of previous technology integration frameworks like the SAM-R, the TPAC framework, and then the TIM. These are all other frameworks that are also just like the IEEE framework, which highlights more on technology integration in teaching and learning. And also, it focuses more on what students do with technology. You know, students right from home when they are, even when they are born, they are introduced to technology at home. How do they use them? And when they come to the school, they're actually introduced to some of the technology tools at school. What do they use those tools for? The framework is going to highlight how some of these technological tools can be used. And also, the goal of the framework is to ensure that technology use supports students' engagement, just as I said earlier on. And then, while engaged, their learning is enhanced and extended by technology. So basically, this is what we are going to look at in the IEEE framework. Now let's dive into what actually the IEEE framework is. We are saying that it is a framework designed to help educators measure how well they integrate technology tools into instruction and provide ways to help increase its use. So, you know, as teachers, we manage to include technology tools in our teaching. But then how well do we measure how they are integrated or how they are included such that at the end of the day, students are able to benefit from the use of the technology and not just distracting them from what the teacher intends to use the technology to get the students to know. So the IEEE framework helps educators to, measure how well they integrate such technology tools in their teaching and then the learning process. Now, let's look at how it works. So the IEEE framework is a 4-step process. And the first one is define learning goals. You know, every teacher, before you go to the class, you prepare your what we call the lesson notes or lesson plan before you go to the class to teach. And let me chip this in. One thing I like about this new standard-based curriculum is that it outlines the objectives that every teacher or every student should know at every particular time. Okay, so that, as the name suggests, is standardized. Okay, so what Kofi will learn in school A in Kumasi will be the same thing that Amma will also learn somewhere in Obuasi at the same time. But with the old one, which is the objective-based curriculum, teachers used to set their own objectives from the curriculum. Okay, so that it varied because one teacher in school A will set his objectives for a particular topic differently from another teacher from school B, who is also setting his objectives from the same topic. And at the end of the day, students are also going to write the same exams. So it was a problem there. So this new curriculum has, eliminated that problem and then unified or standardized the learning objectives or learning goals of students. And then that's, I think, the perfect thing. So the first step in the triple E framework 4-step process is the defining of what learning goals, and after that we select an appropriate technology tool. So knowing what you are going to teach or what the students are supposed to know, now you select an appropriate tool that will help you convey the knowledge or help the students to create the knowledge that you want them to know. So choosing an appropriate tool is one of the major things that, as teachers, for the first time you have to even know how to use the technology tool or what it does before you can even decide to use that for your learning goals or the learning goals that you have set. So on first hand, the teachers need to upgrade themselves, learn more on how other technology tools can be used in the teaching and learning process. So after selecting the technology tool, we now engage students with the tool by having them active and having them being active and what social learners. So later on we are going to look at what active learning is and then social learning is. But then for the time being, let's just focus on engaging students with the tool. Okay, so we've set our goals, we've chosen an appropriate technology tool that we think can help us to give out what the students need to know. Then we use the technology tool, we engage students with it, and then after we connect what students are learning with real world tasks and context. Okay, so technology tools are used in class as a way to connect what students are learning with real world tasks and context. Most times the classroom environment is limited such that there are certain real world things that we cannot bring to the class, and then technology plays a major role in this area, said that you can bring those, or you can show to students those things that the students cannot get, or because of the limitedness of the classroom environment, the students cannot get to know about. So technology tools help to bridge that gap so that we can relate, we can connect with the real world situation and context. So these are the 4 basic steps in what the triple E framework. And then after these steps, let's look at what each of the E's in the framework stands for and what it is about. So the first E, which is engagement. So what we say engagement is when it comes to the triple E framework. Now students spend more time on task. Okay, so when we are using the triple E framework, we are making sure that the technology tool that we are using to bring out the knowledge, or to help students create the knowledge that we intend to teach them or to let them know, we should make sure that the technology tools help students to spend more time on what task. Okay, so whatever task is involved in creating the knowledge, the technology tool should help students to spend more time on those tasks. And also there is co-use, or there should be co-use, which is person-to-person social use of a digital tool. So when we are choosing a technological tool to engage students in the classroom, there should be co-use. And then the co-use is Kofi and Amma should be able to use the tool together. Okay, they should be able to cooperate, something like that, cooperate and use that digital tool in the bit of what creating knowledge. In the process of creating knowledge, they should be able to use it together. Okay, so this means that the tool shapes the behavior of the students from passive learners to more active social learners. Okay, and students are focused on their learning goals while on the device. So the device shouldn't shift their attention from the learning goal, rather it should focus their attention on the learning goal, and then it should also help them to use the device together, or to use it, which we say the co-use. Okay, it should help them the tool should be able to help multiple students to use the tool together, which is referred to as the co-use, and this will help learners to be more active, okay, and not just passive learners. And then also we have authentic engagement. What do we say authentic engagement is? Just as the tool can distract students from learning goals, or let me say, just as the tool can help students grab whatever the teacher wants to teach them, which are the learning goals, it can also distract them from getting that particular learning goal. And that's where we create a disparity between an authentic engagement and non-authentic engagement, or false engagement. So authentic engagement, for engagement through technology to be effective, the tool should focus students' attention on learning goals and the task at hand rather than distract from it. Okay, so when we say an authentic engagement has taken place, it means that the tool which the teacher is using to support his teaching should help students focus their attention on the learning goals and the tasks involved, and it shouldn't distract them from what the teacher wants the students to know. So when we talk of engagement, it's basically getting students' attention on your learning goal or what they are supposed to know at that particular time. That is engagement. And then also, if there is proper engagement, one element of a truly engaged learner is an environment of active learning, as I said earlier on. And then according to Watala 2015, active learning occurs when children are minds-on, that is, engaged in thinking, reflecting, and a thoughtful mental activity. So active engagement, when students are minds-on, when they are focused, when they are engaged, really engaged in what they are supposed to know, or in the bit of creating knowledge that the teacher wants them to know, and they are able to reflect on it and then make a thoughtful mental activity on it, it means students are actively learning, or they are actively engaged. And a few examples of instructional strategies effectively used in conjunction with a technology tool would be monitoring. Okay, so if students are left with a device, with a technological tool to create their knowledge, there's a possibility that students may be using it for other things. Okay, so if they are monitored, if students, the devices that they are used are monitored, they are monitored on the device, it will help students to be more engaged. And then we have think aloud. Just when they are using the tool, it helps them to think aloud. The teacher can also in interval based helps ask students questions about their engagement with the device to get to know how far they are going with the creation of their knowledge. And we have modeling and other reflective practices drawn from literally learning. So we have authentic engagement, and also we have forced engagement. So now let's look at the downsides of forced engagement. So swiping, tapping, and then physically engaging with an app is not the same as minds-on activity. Okay, so many studies measure engagement through observation. In other words, if students are observed looking at learning software or using a digital device, they are labeled as engaged, when in reality the students may not be meeting the desired learning goal. Okay, so there can be forced engagement. So when students are allowed to interact with a technology tool, okay, which should enable or help them to get fully engaged and then create their own knowledge, there are downsides such that students may be using the tool for other things, or even whilst using the tool, their minds may be on different things, which is not going to be engagement. Okay, so when students are engaged with the tool, or they are interacting with a technological tool which supposedly should help them to focus on the learning goal, it is possible that they've been just swiping and then tapping, and then physically engaging with the tool or the app will not be a mind's on activity. Okay, so here comes where monitoring and then think aloud can bring their minds back on to the learning goal, so that at the end of the day the learning can be can go on. Okay, so an example of forced engagement will be a teacher using a web-based tool to give a mobile quiz and a student answering the questions via cell phone, but focusing on being the first one to answer rather than understanding the nature and purpose of the questions. Okay, so students will be in a hurry to answer the question first. Okay, so this wouldn't be proper engagement because they will not be focused on what the teacher wants them to know. It's just about they being the first to answer, and that's their focus. That will be their focus. Okay, so now this is engagement, the first E in the triple E framework. So the next E, which is enhancement in the triple E framework. And what we say enhancement is? Enhancement means the student creates content to demonstrate learning. Okay, so the teacher's bid to use a particular technology tool to help his teaching. That particular technology tool should enhance student learning, and that means the students are able to create content to demonstrate knowledge. Okay, and then to support enhancement, which requires pushing students, critical thinking, analysis and evaluation skills are needed for students to create their own content. Okay, so the particular tool that a teacher is going to use in that particular lesson, which is going to help enhance students' learning, should support critical thinking and an analysis and evaluation skills. Okay, so these are needed for students to actually be able to create their own content. And then creating their own content means they have grabbed the concept of what the teacher wants them to know. Okay, if students don't understand what they are learning, or if they don't remember what they learn, according to Bloom's taxonomy, the base of the triangle at the base is remembering, and that's the first process in creating knowledge. So if students don't remember what you have taught them or their learning goal, they cannot create their own content. They cannot ask questions. Okay, so a technological tool that a teacher would integrate in his lesson in the class should help enhance students' learning by helping them to create content, their own content, which also demonstrates what they are learning. And then to support enhancement, the teacher must develop scaffolds to make it easier for students to understand ideas and concepts. Yes, so students will get to understand your concept, or they will get to understand the learning goals that you presented to them, but you have to provide scaffold, as in giving them clues, giving them examples which they can build upon to create their own ideas or to create their own knowledge. Okay, so enhancement, I think, is a very important aspect of the triple E framework, which helps students to create their own knowledge or to create their own content from what you have presented to them as learning goal. Okay, and that's very important. And then also, teachers need to support differentiating learning. Okay, so students are different in their own capacities. We have different backgrounds, different learning approaches, different people altogether. Okay, so as a teacher, the tool we are using should also support differentiating learning, said that the lower students or students who find it difficult to grasp concepts can be helped by those who are able to grab it early enough or quickly enough. Okay, so in that case, the device should help students who learn slow or who learn faster to be able to blend or to meet at a point such that they will all come to power when they are creating knowledge. Okay, so this is what the E in the enhancement in the triple E framework talks about. And then also, the technology tools should allow students to achieve their learning goals at different learning levels, as I earlier on said. And then to achieve perfect enhancement, students should be able to demonstrate their understanding better through technology than they could be or they could with a more traditional tool. Yes, so technology, what as we say it, is here or is there to make things better or to ease our way of doing things. Okay, so if at the end of the day we are using technology tool in teaching and learning, it means that it should far exceed as or what we would have done with the traditional tool or the traditional methods that we have been using all this while shouldn't be at par with when we are using technology, because technology should enhance, should engage, and then should extend learning far better than the traditional tools or traditional methods of teaching. Okay, so that's the E in the triple E framework. The last E in the triple E framework is extension. And what we say extension is, okay, so extension is as a result of students learning outside the class. Okay, so most times classes hours are limited so that teachers normally don't complete what they are supposed to teach students, okay, or what students are supposed to know. They are not able to go through all the methods and then the procedures that students are to get the knowledge that they need to know. So extension helps in creating their knowledge or creating knowledge outside of the classroom, outside when the teacher is not around. Okay, students are able to create knowledge or they are able to learn in the absence of the teacher, in the absence of the classroom. So extension helps students to learn outside the class. And then teachers typically think of extension as homework. So in the traditional classroom, or even when using technology tools, we think of extension as giving students homework. Okay, said that what you couldn't cover, everything that you couldn't do in the classroom, students will take it home and then work on that as homework. And then also we are saying homework that does not extend into the students' everyday life is not useful. Okay, so homework should be what the student is going to use the knowledge he has created in the classroom, or what the student has created, the knowledge the student has created in the classroom, how he is going to use that in the real world situation or in their everyday lives. Okay, so homework shouldn't be that what the students couldn't grab in the classroom, you transfer that or you give that to the student as homework to go and do. No, it's the responsibility of you, the teacher, to fully help the students create that knowledge. And when he has created the knowledge, he has learned the knowledge, you then give homework to the student so that he will go and apply or he will go and implement that in his everyday life and show evidence of how he applied it for marking. Okay, so we say technology tools are available to students every day 24/7, and if you find an activity that the students think is important and related to their technology learning needs, they will spend time outside the classroom learning. Yes, so students are the technology that has come, that the current world we are in now, the technology world that we are in now, has made, it helps it, not just help, it has come to stay in such a way that learners, students, children in general have come to accept it. So whether or not you teach a student how to use a tool, he knows how to use it. He wouldn't know how he got to know, but they know how to use such technological tools, okay, because it's available to them every day. They interact with them every day, and so they know how to use them. So as a teacher, we have to leverage on this such that what students have learned, we make them use the technology tools available to implement it in their everyday life, to implement it in the real world situation. So a typical example is when you want students to list parts of a car, okay, create a vocabulary around a car. The best thing for you to do is engage students with the tool that they use at home, smartphones, okay, tablets. So don't just ask them to go and take a sheet of paper or a book and write them in there. Just give them the chance to use their digital tools or smart devices at home, and then create that vocabulary of car or parts of a car, and then list them on their devices, okay. And how is this going to help students? In their bid to create that knowledge, or to get the parts of the car, they have the chance of taking pictures of the parts, okay, and then labeling them according to their names, okay. And this is going to forever remain with them, such that anytime when they are grown, they will get to know that, okay, this particular part of the car is called this, and this particular part of the car is this, okay. So when they grow and they go to the mechanic, they don't have to brainstorm to get the name of certain parts of the car. So in this situation, students have been able to create knowledge and then extend the knowledge in their life, okay, or throughout their life. They've used it in the real world situation. So this is how technology tool or technological tools can be used to enhance and extend learning throughout a student's life, okay. So that is extension. So basically what we have learned today is the IEEE framework, which is a technology integration framework. As teachers, we try to include technology in our teaching and learning, or in our teaching process. How well do we use them? How do we choose the particular technological tools? And how do students use them? What do students do with technology tools? These are all what the IEEE framework highlights on, and how best it helps teachers to integrate particular technology tools into their teaching to be at the advantage of students, such that they can properly engage students, they can enhance students' learning, and finally they can extend students' learning. So this is what we've learned today. If you are liking my videos, or you like this video, please place a comment, like, and then share, but most importantly, subscribe to my channel and help it grow. Next on my videos is going to be the TPAC framework, so stay tuned and then click on the notification bell so that anytime I post a video, you will be the first person to watch. Thank you very much, and see you later.